Don't, whatever you do, start tutoring English online. Hi guys, great to see you again. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new to this channel, then welcome. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the negatives of teaching English online. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you've already been considering tutoring English online and are in the midst of trying to decide if it's the right path for you. I'm also going to assume that you've seen lots of people on YouTube with smiling faces and on Google with positive blog articles telling you that teaching English online or tutoring online in general is a great way to earn some extra money online. And while that very well may be true, and it is in fact a way that I make some money online, I wanted to focus on some of the negatives. So I wanted to look at some of the reasons why you probably shouldn't teach online, given that a lot of focus is often put on the positive. I want to bring you back down to earth. So let's look at some of the cons in this video of why you should not start teaching English or tutoring in general online. So the first reason why you should not start teaching English online is that it has become heavily restricted in China by the Chinese government. Now you may be thinking, why is this relevant? Well, let me take you back a few years. When I used to teach English online, I was making a lot more money maybe 3 or 4 years ago, especially during the pandemic. There were a lot of people looking for online classes during that time. And also during that time period, the Chinese government came in and restricted online classes, especially tutoring English, for people under the ages of 18. They also came in with some other restrictions, I believed, about playing video games. They really wanted to reduce sort of screen time. It was also seen as an unfair advantage for privileged children to get better English skills because they could afford to hire native English speakers online to tutor English. And this is all relevant to you because it used to be a market that was absolutely dominated. It used to be a job market dominated by Chinese companies offering online class to younger Chinese students. There were a host of websites that would hire you and you were pretty much guaranteed work. You had to commit to like 5-10 hours a week tutoring English online. You really could make good money back then. Recently, I've been trying to get back into teaching online and I've come to find that most of those websites aren't hiring. So there's a couple that aren't hiring and a few of them that seem to have completely gone under. The websites seem to be like just unmaintained and not being used for a few years. So the market has shrunk drastically. That was the biggest sort of population looking for online classes teaching English. And that has very much dried up and is much harder to access these days. So that's one of the first reasons why you maybe want to reconsider teaching English online. It does seem that the golden days are behind us. The next reason why you should not teach English online is many websites will pay you less per hour than regular part-time jobs. Wages can be as low as $10 per hour on certain websites. In fact, that's pretty common to see around that $10 mark. On top of that, some of the platforms will charge a commission, so you have to pay a platform fee. So even if you do get someone who's willing to pay multiple classes $10 per hour to you, the online company could take up to like 30% of that. So then it's dropping you down to like $7 an hour. You're getting kind of below the minimum wage. I'm pretty sure what I earn online tutoring English is below the sort of UK minimum wage where I'm from. But that's a whole different kettle of fish. My point being is that you could definitely probably easily make money elsewhere looking for part-time work in your hometown. This is something I'm pretty sure most McDonald's pay more than most tutoring online platforms, and you may find that you have, and there's even less barrier to entry to a lot of those jobs. So this may not be, especially at entry level, especially when you're first getting started, this may not be a financially savvy move to dedicate all your time doing, unless you see like a further career in the future, unless this is something you want to develop. But if you're looking to simply earn a bit of extra money, I actually think you could probably go out there and find a part-time job that pays much better and is less stressful than online teaching. My next reason for why you should not start tutoring online is that communicating online is less effective and more difficult than it is in person. Maybe it would be better for you to just go out there and find an English language school. Maybe it'd be better for you to go and find a real teaching position in your hometown. So maybe locally there is high demand for young students looking for extra English classes. Maybe that would be a much better much more productive way to tutor English. Tutoring online is a little bit more clunky. It's much harder having a conversation via a webcam than it is face-to-face. There are a lot of sort of in-person cues that you can't pick up on. You'll find sometimes that you're speaking over each other. It's difficult to tell when someone has ended the conversation, ended their sentence, I find, and is ready for you to return a sentence. So it is a little bit more clunky. You've also got a lot of technical issues. Your Wi-Fi will inevitably mess up at some point. Your microphone may stop working at some point. So there's maybe your Windows computer decides it needs to update. So there are a lot of issues with teaching online that you wouldn't face in person. So maybe teaching in person would be a much better route for you than looking at online classes. Another reason why you should not tutor online is that the hours are very limited to a certain window and can be very antisocial. Most people who are looking to take online classes are going to be doing so in their free time, which typically means it's like weekend work. I find it's actually probably only really that profitable for me to be working as an English teacher online during the weekend. One of my busiest times is Sunday evening. Now, this is a time that I'm definitely not used to working. This is Sunday used to be my day of rest. So the weekends, I used to very much enjoy my weekends. However, if you're serious about, tutoring online, you may find that the weekends are something that you really want to keep free. They're the only times you can really do it. This was true when I was working for a Chinese-based company. It's also true now. I'm working for a Japanese-based company. So the sort of periods where I can find work are kind of lunchtime, evenings. It's not often that I get classes in those times, midweek, but I do get a couple of classes at lunchtime or in the evening, sort of for a couple of hour blocks. And then at the weekend, so the weekend I can kind of fill up my schedule. But yeah, like I say, in the evenings, you kind of expect to have your time free. And on the weekends, you kind of want to have some free time. But the teaching online can be extremely antisocial. And especially imagine, you're probably going to be teaching people very far away from you in different time zones. So it could find that the hours, the windows of people online just doesn't match with your lifestyle at all. On top of that, ratings can be pretty ruthless. Most online platforms have like a student rating system, so they'll be able to rate you and leave some feedback. If you get good rating, good feedback, more students will be attracted to your profile. Your profile will probably be listed higher on the page of tutors as well, which is a massive bonus. But those ratings can be pretty brutal. You're not going to have a good class with everyone, so you're inevitably going to get a couple of bad reviews. You may find you get a string of them and then all of a sudden your work really drops off, and it's not always your fault. But it's something to definitely bear in mind. You're constantly being monitored, you're constantly being reviewed, and you need that review to stay high, or you'll find that you start getting less and less work. So this is another reason why teaching online isn't so great. Through some things that are no fault of your own. Sometimes maybe you have a dodgy connection one day, you get a load of bad reviews. Maybe you unintentionally insult someone. I knew someone who was tutoring online. They were a female teacher. They had like a vest top on, so they were covered, but they didn't have their shoulders covered. Some of their students who were using this platform were Middle Eastern and found that offensive, and they ended up, getting bad reviews. I think even the company might have stopped offering them work. So yeah, my point is here, feedback and ratings can be pretty ruthless. They can be pretty harsh. It's consistent, it's all the time, and it is one of the biggest struggles of tutoring online. So this may be something that will put you off. Finally, one of the worst things about tutoring online, one of the biggest reasons why you should not start tutoring online, is that work is just simply not often guaranteed. Most websites these days will get you to upload your availability, get you to write in a calendar on their platform when you're available, and then you have to wait for students to book you. Maybe you get students book you, maybe you don't. This can be extremely stressful. This is not an income that you can consistently rely on unless you're a top teacher, and you need to really work hard to get there. So those are some of the reasons why you should not, or some of the negatives, some of the cons to tutoring online. If you are interested in tutoring online, like I said, it is something I do. I recommend you bear those negatives in mind. But if you want to push forward anyway, then links in the description to some of the websites that I use to tutor English online. So check them out down there. If this is still something, after listening to all those negatives, if this is still something you want to do, then maybe start there.